Bahia de los Suenos means Bay of Dreams, a name as intriguing as the secluded eastern coast of Baja California, where it is located. An exclusive beach community with waterfront residences and resort hotels is planned here. Around this outstanding 18-hole desert golf course designed by Tom Doak, where it was decided to go with sea spray seeded seashore paspalum for the fairways and tees.
It was an ease of application as well as a cost issue, you know. A lot of importation fees with stolons, potentially, if you're not getting them locally here, if you get them from the States. So that's one aspect of it. Weather being what it is here, it's very, as we were speaking of a moment ago, it's very much an option here, very much an option here. We have done zero sodding around bunkers, around greens complexes. We haven't needed to. Plus, I'd rather have seed any day over sod, even if it's in small areas. I'd rather, just because of the soil interface issues and that kind of a thing.
Although the greens here are sprigged, Tybee concedes that sprigging has some drawbacks.
There's issues. They take up a lot of space. Sprigs take up a lot of space to store. They also require the temperatures, and that keeping them cool is not a cheap endeavor.
Sea spray tolerates porous soil, so very little prep was needed.
These 3 holes here are predominantly the sand you see, and so minimally here, just the gypsum going down ahead of it, that was it. And other holes, that's just, again, mostly these 3 holes. The rest of the golf course is kind of a decomposed granite type of material, quite a bit of rock in some of it as well as you get more into the hills back there. Some of those holes we did a lot of capping. Not with anything like this necessarily, even like the sand, even sometimes just whatever soil was available in there. We would use sometimes maybe materials we didn't necessarily, wouldn't be our first choice, but knowing it's paspalum and that it's bulletproof, it's been fine.
Seeding began in fall of 2008.
We didn't have water in our reservoir until last August, and so then we were seeding our first holes by October 3rd, I believe it was, the first and second holes on the 18th as well. West Coast Turf has done the job with as little as a 900-gallon fin tank. And it's been fine. They shoot the perimeters with a hose initially and then fill it in with a gun on top of the tank. It's so simple with the hydroseeding process that it's almost even hard to think of anything. Just obviously make sure that the contractor, which West Coast Turf is doing a good job in spreading uniformly and that kind of thing, and keep the water on it. That's about it. You keep the water and the food on it, you can go to sleep on the stuff practically. It's extremely simple. I don't want to make my job sound easy, because obviously there's times when it's not, but it's extremely simple to grow in. The paspalum is, flat from seed. It's wonderful. When we first seeded in the fall, we were noticing germination. The first little hairs starting to come up after about 6 to 7 days, just in a couple little areas. And then 2 or 3 days later, all of a sudden you see it coming up everywhere to that same height. Another 5, 6, 7 days, you start seeing where even people who don't know what they're looking at can tell something's going on, something's coming up. You start seeing a green hue. Kind of slows down at that point a little bit, starts developing some of the below ground parts of the plant. Then about maybe 3 weeks into the process, kaboom, it just starts exploding and coming up like gangbusters.
Under the dry conditions, sea spray stays resilient.
Yeah, the beauty of sea spray is even in the heat, yeah, it'll start going off a little bit if it starts getting in a droughty scenario or your uniformity is not perfect, but snaps right out of it the next day once you get the water on it, or hand water, whatever. We haven't had to hand water anywhere as of right now. Currently we're using groundwater. The salts are, for paspalum, pretty low ultimately. For other turf types, a little higher. We're at about 1,800 parts per million. Bicarbonate, I believe, last I looked was 250 or 300, if I recall correctly. But yeah, just simply for soil issues. Paspalum itself for growth, and it'll take very high salts. I've heard of courses in Saudi Arabia irrigating with 20,000 parts per million water.
The sea spray fairways and tees are maintaining a beautiful green color, and they need very little nitrogen.
Right now, it's leaner color-wise than it's been over the last 30 to 60 days, and it still looks darn good in my opinion. Actually, the architects say they like this color better than when about 2 months ago, 6 to 8 weeks ago, when it was emerald green practically. It was unbelievable. That's when it was really coming off the growing regime. We put a ½ ton of gypsum down before the hydroseeding as well. 2 weeks following the hydroseeding process, put down another ½ pound of nitrogen on 6-24-24 again. Another 2 weeks later, hit it with a 999 at a half a pound and a calcium nitrate at a half a pound, which is about the biggest zonk of nitrogen we give it at all at any one time. After that, it's nothing more than half a pound ever.
With the front 9 nearly complete, the course will be open in early 2010.
So there's a lot of excitement starting. You can just feel it. Obviously, it's people talking, but just feel the buzz. It's starting to happen just kind of now. And you know, whether it's lot sales or anything else, or just the fact there's a beautiful new Tom Doak course coming online real soon here, beginning of early next year.